All right, Aquarius, welcome to the Comprehensive for May. So we start with the World, which is a Saturnian ruled card, Saturn retrograde, squaring Uranus, and it's slow turnover. This change, right, this thing that's surfacing for the sake of healing, this change is going to take time to fully happen, I think. That this is going to be a process. See, even here, right, we have it here in the Wheel of Fortune. We also have Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo, Taurus here as well. Like, you really are being called to step up into your throne here, like for real, for real. And to have that confidence to really be there is going to take time. This, I think, is stage one. The more and more I kind of sat with this, I'm like, this is stage one for Aquarius in terms of their story of absolute and total self-empowerment. Now, you've probably been working on that for a long time now, but this is new levels of this. New levels of creation, new levels of taking life by the horns, and really, really understanding how to work with energy, how to work with thoughts, how to work with emotion, especially with Mars and Cancer right now. How emotion plays such a huge part in our creation, and that it needs to be felt, it needs to be addressed, it needs to be directed in a certain way. Now I've got a couple aces here, Ace of Swords, Ace of Coins. Like I say, you are the keeper of these things. You are the keeper of these opportunities. You're the one that really dictates when these things come to you based on your mind and your energy and the way you're feeling. But when you're closed off, he's always kind of like gives me like a very Ebenezer Scrooge kind of energy. Like very stringent and cheap kind of, like don't touch my 4 coins. Don't touch them. Very greedy almost. But still very stubborn. And I feel like you're hanging on to scraps. Hanging on to scraps of something. And it may have been like, the idea that you had for your life was great, 10 years ago, and it really worked and it was working for you. But now it's not, and it can't, and it won't. That's why I'm calling it scraps, right? It's like leftovers. You're like living in the leftover section of your refrigerator right now, instead of like enjoying the feast that's on the dining room table right now. Because you're so used to that old kind of food. You're so used to that old way of being. You're so used to it. Like it's just like fits like an old glove. But the universe is asking you to do something new. It's asking you to be something new. A new mind, a new world. And even here, the environment, like I say, like you're solo in this boat, you're solo, you're solitude, you're on your own here. Now the universe will definitely support you, and it will protect your journey. It will protect your path away from things that aren't necessarily good and healthy for you, because this is a very well-intentioned journey. The journey with the water, right? The Mars and Cancer energy. You're in that emotional space, Sun through the 4th, you're in that healing place, you're going deep, you have the capacity to really uncover a lot of, uncovered things, and you have the potential to really, truly, and fully heal, and the environment will protect that process and say, this is really important for Aquarius right now. They've got Saturn going retrograde, so they've got enough to really deal with. So let's keep out this 3 of Swords type of stuff. The stuff that's not going to work, the stuff that's going to cause pain or suffering. Let's keep that stuff out because they're on a soul journey right now. And this is probably why the environment isn't necessarily seeming super fruitful. Not to say you guys can't still go get jobs and still find homes and go get healthy. Like, you can still do those things. It just doesn't feel the way that I think you would like it to feel. This is all about feeling, okay? Feeling and perspective. It's not as satisfying. It's not as fulfilling. Connection with people might be a little difficult right now. Saturn aspecting the 7th. It might be a little hard to really relate to a lot of people as well. You may feel very detached from the world. But I think that's okay. That's a part of what you need to go through right now. Because this is not going to be an easy feat. Okay, now, I love the 3 of Cups because it's the happy. It's the luck is on your side. It's the light. It's the joy. It's the being loyal to what you love and being with the friends that make you laugh and, doing the things that really spark your soul. Like, I love the 3 of Cups. But then again, we have this 10 of Wands with the Ace of Swords reversed this time. And it definitely indicates that you're carrying a burden on your shoulders. Wouldn't this be so much more fun if this didn't come along with it? All the heaviness of everything didn't come along with it. That's what this journey is about, is learning how to learning how to unburden yourself with unnecessary burdens that you've been carrying for far too long, and maybe even in a little bit of denial that even exists. Being in a little bit of denial that stuff was even there. Because I do feel like there's an epiphany moment for you coming up. There's a light bulb about to turn on. You're going to be like, oh, okay, I get it. Okay, I see. I understand, Now I know what that is. And still remember what I said, like when I was pulling out the cards, I was like, you're a page over here, like generally speaking. But in this one area, this area that you're protecting, you're an Emperor reverse, which means it's really fixed and really stubborn. Okay? You're really, really, really protecting it. It's probably going to trigger you a bit. But I love the Page of Swords and the 2 of Cups. To me, I see communion. Coming together with this part of yourself. It's kind of like shadow work, but not as dark as the devil, right? It's like acknowledging it's there, understanding it, giving it the attention that it needs, and making peace with it. Now, some of you may be dealing with someone important in your life, a spouse, significant other, a boss, someone, and that relationship might get difficult. If that relationship gets difficult in any way, or if there's a miscommunication of some kind, or if there's some kind of an argument, or you guys hit a wall with something, I think that's reflective of your own stuff and their own stuff. So if you hit a wall with someone, the first course of action is to really ask yourself, how is this mirroring me? How is this mirroring me? That's the only time I think the universe is going to provide information. It's all going to be specifically to redirect you back to yourself. Every little detour back to yourself. It's like continually going back home. Constantly back home. Until this really gets resolved. Now, this is a positive omen that it will in fact get resolved. Or at least acknowledged. So there's no more repression or denial or anything going on there. Because see, here's this wonderful Knight of Wands, which we love because he's optimistic and buoyant and resilient, and he can, he does have that expansive mindset. But I feel like he's kind of trapped a little bit here between the Six of Swords and the Eight of Swords, and he's kind of caged in a little bit. And then that Magician reversed is kind of like, oh, he has all of these ideas and like these wonderful things that he wants to create with the Magician and the Wheel of Fortune especially, but he still keeps hitting up against that wall there. And there's this like, well, what is it that I'm doing? And I think he's actively really trying to figure it out. Actively really trying to come up with some kind of a solution so that this isn't really a problem anymore. He doesn't want to be hanging out in the leftover section of the refrigerator. All right, it's not where he wants to be. He wants to be at the feast. And the Wheel of Fortune wants you to be at the feast too. But the Magician, he's tricky, right? Because it's like, once you think you've got it figured out, you'll try something different and it probably won't work. One thing that I don't think is going to work is the whole thing of trying to find a solution, to try to fix it. That's going to be a bad approach. This is not a problem that needs to be fixed. This is like a young child who is feeling upset, okay? And you just have to let them feel upset. Let them feel the feeling. Mars to Cancer, let them feel the feeling. And don't try to maneuver or manipulate it in any way, shape, or form. A Wheel of Fortune cannot be manipulated into coming into form, manipulated into coming into your life. It can't be tricked or outsmarted. It reads your energy. That's it. That's why, right? Change your energy, change your life. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to be the real alchemists, the real kind of magicians. And it's not about consciously trying to maneuver. It's about feeling the feelings and sitting in it. That's why he's caged in. It's like forcing you to sit in it. Even though you're going to be like, get me out of here. This does not feel the best. This is weird. This is uncomfortable. I don't like this. I go, And he's going to try to get out, but he's not going to be able to get out. Which means that confrontation with that part of yourself is inevitable. But I do like the Knight of Wands because I do think he's good intentioned. Now, we really like the Hierophant. I really do like him. I keep saying he's like my new favorite card. And what I'm saying about him is that he's our guru, right? He is that guardian inside of us. And this is the home position, coming back home to the pure voice, the one that always, always, always speaks truth no matter what. This is the part of you that you cannot escape. And that Ace of Swords can try all day long to maneuver a new rationalization or a new perspective that's helpful or whatever. But at the end of the day, you are going to know when you're lying to yourself and when you're not. And the Hierophant will call you out. So this has kind of come up for it's been called up for sentencing here, this issue or this thing that you've been protecting or this thing that you've been holding on to so tightly, this lifestyle you've been trying to protect or whatever the thing is. It's being called up for sentencing and it's being deemed unworthy for future use. Truly. The Hierophant is spoken. It's being deemed it's unusable now. Letting go, right? Paying the cost, paying the fine, paying the fee, whatever it is, it's going to come with a little bit of a bite. But remember that this isn't about like karmic payback or anything. This isn't about punishment. It's not about anything like that. This is about happiness. This is about finding joy and fulfillment in life. And that's it. That's all it is. Because this has been preventing certain things from coming in, or preventing certain opportunities from manifesting, or it's been preventing. And the Hierophant says, like, enough, stop. Like, we're going to put an end to this because we don't want to keep preventing our destiny from unfolding. You don't have a choice anymore, which is why the Tower comes out. Because the Tower is what happens when we ignore something for too long. When we don't address it, boom, it smacks you in the face. Tears down your walls. It freaking exposes stuff. And that's what's happening. It was ignored for too long. It got complacent. It got stale. And it's cleanup time. Like, for real. And might leave you a little shortchanged, a little bruised and broken, but it's okay. You're essentially unscathed. There might be some loss of some kind. We do have the Three of Swords in the environment. You know, some people may have to leave your life. There may need to be some drastic change. But ultimately, the Three of Wands is the card of prosperity and wealth. Things coming into you. You had to create room. The Wheel of Fortune needs a lot of room. It needs storage space in the warehouse to bring you the stuff. Like, if your warehouse is full of junk, the new stuff has nowhere to go. So the Tower comes in and just says, let's just swipe everything off these shelves. Let's just throw it all in the trash, right? Let's just get rid of it, or repurpose it, or redo it, or move it somewhere else. Like, we need to do something with it, but it can't stay on these shelves. We got to make some space. And I know it's kind of like a punch to the gut of like, oh my God, like they're touching my stuff. Ugh. Right? But it's not for you anymore. It's just simply not. What's for you is this happiness. And the King of Cups reversed is, you know, I think he is looking for that fulfillment. Maybe for the King of Cups, things got a little too cold, right? The environment got a little too cold, a little too impersonal, a little too disconnected. And he's now looking for a place where he truly belongs. A place with warmth and joy and happiness and, you know, and I think he's starting to really allow himself to envision, you know, I think this is a part of, and that's an aspect of you, you know, the part of you that, you know, is victorious in this instance, then maybe something isn't as emotionally fulfilling as you thought it was. And maybe there was a little too much intellect at play and not enough heart. And now the heart is catching up and it's saying, my needs matter too. So there's a connection with nature often, I feel, with the Six of Cups. Contemplation, visualization, definitely a lot of meditation. There's a lot of, what I'm sensing is there's a lot of things that you're like, I don't know if the word admitting is the right word, but you're realizing that maybe you were wrong. The way you saw it was wrong. The way you perceived it was wrong. Now, when I say wrong, I'm not trying to like draw a black and white line. It's just you look back and you're like, well, it would have been easier if I thought about it differently. You know, it would have been easier if I dealt with it differently. You know, life would have been a lot different. Not to like have regrets, but it's just kind of like that contemplation. Like you look back and you're like, wow, could have really made my life a lot easier if I had just known or just realized, you know. But then, of course, there's that appreciation for the experience too, because now here you are and you get to understand things from a new wave. from new heights, from hermit level, which is extraordinarily wise. Wisdom can only be built through those mistakes anyway, so. Right, and then we have the Seven of Swords, which creeps up, definitely creeps up. But this is another part of yourself that you're going to need to make peace with, which is that kind of self-sabotage place. The place that's going to like want to go back here, right? Remember what I was saying, all these cards, they want to go back to that comfort zone. They want to go back because the Emperor is strong. The Emperor has a gravity to him. Even he's trying to like jump out, right? Toward the Emperor. You want to, that's the thing is these swords are blocking you from even jumping out toward the Emperor here. Like, no, it's cutting you off. The universe is cutting you off from your safe place, from your safe zone. Like, nope, you can't go there anymore. You're going to have to go get uncomfortable. You're going to have to go be, a little bit raw, a little transparent. You're going to have to feel the feelings and do the things and process. It's going to happen fast. And I think you're going to notice that swing. You're going to notice the part of you that wants to go back and the part of you that doesn't. You're going to notice the part of you that's scared to go forwards, also scared to go back. And in that instance, when you don't know whether to go forward or to go back, you can just sit still. That's okay, right? Temperance, that middle ground, that very zen place. I'm not ready to full on go to that discomfort zone, but I'm also definitely don't want to go backwards. So I'm just going to sit here and just like meditate because I don't know what else to do. That's kind of what I'm sensing. And I'm kind of joking, but also kind of not. This is the essence of a Saturn retrograde, right? Just like, oh, you feel that pull back. It's just so strong, so strong. Jupiter moves into Pisces. Yes, that's wonderful, but he's also slowing down too, getting ready for his retrograde. So it's like, oh, this big planet energy just kind of sucking us back into the void a little bit. But we are determined to not go back there, determined to progress. And I love this King of Swords. Queen of Coins has been an interesting energy for me this month because I feel like she's like here, but her role is like not really that important, but she's still here. It's like someone who's being affected by stuff. I don't know. She's just kind of like this symbol for all the things that are being affected by other people's processes. So like if you have a spouse, right, that could be your spouse. Or if you have kids, it could be your kids. It could be your workplace, and like while you're going through all this stuff, these are the people that are being affected by it. It's going to be really important for you to understand that communication is important, okay? Because this is someone that can put up with a lot and can be very independent and very strong and can let you go do your thing and can let you detach if you need to for a little while. But she's going to need something concrete. She's going to need something that she can hang on to and say, okay, well, like, are you going to come back or can you tell me what's going on? Can you be a little bit more clear of what's happening so I don't freak out? She's going to need something that she can understand. Because if you start blocking out these people, the good, high quality, like excellent Three of Cups people, you're going to be really, really, really lonely. And you have to know when to be transparent and direct and really honest about really deep stuff. And I think the Queen of Coins is going to hold you to kind of a high standard of like, in terms of what information she needs, like, where are you going? What's going on? Like, where have you been? Are you coming around? Like all that kind of thing, she's going to need more. Otherwise she's out. That's why I don't feel her very anchored in these readings at all, because I feel like there is a possibility that she could just jump out of the reading at any time, just pop out, because she's not going to invest in something if she can't trust that. right? She's not going to do that. That's not her gig. She needs trust in her life. And if she can't trust, she's going to go somewhere else where she can. So just make sure that you're communicating things properly. And, and if you need something to communicate that as well, Queen of Coins will definitely accommodate. And then even the Queen of Wands too, kind of similar type of energy. But I think this is an aspect of you as well. This is the part of you that's looking forwards, but not without a struggle. But see what I was saying? Like any of these cards that come out kind of tough, they're all just motivation. This is hopefully not a vicious cycle of guilt and shame, of feeling like not being able to be unstuck, to not be unblocked. You're not blocked, okay? That's the thing that I think people are perceiving, that they're all blocked and stagnant and they don't know and they're kind of hitting up against walls and stuff. There's no blockage, really. It's just an ebb of the energy. And there's no reason to feel guilt or shame for healing, because that's ultimately what all of this is healing. And it does take time, and it is a deep process, and it won't happen overnight, and it will keep creeping up, and it will impact your life, like all of those things. It will do those things. So if you expect those things, don't beat yourself up because you're not doing it like a champion right away. Please allow yourself like the whole year to really process what this stuff is and to come into a full understanding of what this is and what role it had in your life and how it's impacted you and how you can prevent it from continuing to impact you. Because if you can free yourself up from that, right, you're kind of your own superhero here. And I think the Queen of Wands is determined to not let that prevent her wheel of fortune from turning over. As much as it tries to suck you down or suck you into the void, as much as it tries to suck you into the past, she's determined to not let that happen. And I think she's like swimming as hard as she can against that sort of like whirlpool there. She's like, nope, no way, I'm getting sucked in. There's no way. And it's a lot of work, right? 10 of Wands, it's a lot of work. But you are protected. Your journey is protected. The spirit is helping you keep out the stuff that could be detrimental to this progress. So when you're very serious about this, spirit will make sure that this kind of Three of Swords stuff stays away. And you can take as much time as you need. You have time. You have time. Okay? Let's take a look here. Last cards with the oracles. Whoops, hold on. We'll just take that one that came out on top. Owl, follow your intuition. Yeah, your intuition is what's calling you home. You're being called home. You're being called to, oops, that's the wrong deck. Being called to return back to this authentic self, being called back to come back to a place of purity and clarity and understanding, and of course happiness, and innocence, and a place of good fortune. And if you follow this intuition, you won't go wrong. There will be no missteps at all. Perseverance. I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. And that's kind of the essence of what kind of needs to happen. You do have to persevere here, because if you get a little bit weak and you don't stay strong, there will be that going back straight into that same pattern. Now, if you do trip and fall, don't beat yourself up. Obviously, you don't have to do it perfectly the first time. Give yourself leeway for this process, because that's exactly what it is, a big process. Okay? All right. I'm going to leave you guys with that. Big reading for you, but yes, we knew, because Saturn retrograde eclipses, we knew. So we're gonna end there. Thank you guys so much. I love you. Have an amazing May. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.